Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode here of Fast Break for iSports Radio, your direct feed for all sports. On tonight's show, we still discuss the NBA playoffs. The Lakers staved off elimination, but can they win another game in Denver? The Clippers almost choked away a big lead today against the Mavericks, but still hung on. With the series tied 2-2, who can take the league and close out the series? Are the Youngins in the playoffs ready to take over the league? It means Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and others. Or is the old guard going to have one more fight? We'll discuss this and much more here live on Spreaker for iSports Radio, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into here on this great, beautiful Sunday afternoon. I do, before we go live, get into basketball talk to the people out in the Midwest, Nebraska. As some of y'all know, I used to live out there for about close to 4 years. Got hit hard by some tornadoes. A lot out in Nebraska, Elkhorn, especially Lincoln, around the Omaha area, and out in Iowa as well. And then Oklahoma got hit pretty hard as well in those tornadoes yesterday. So, Nebraska got hit hard Friday, Oklahoma, I think Saturday. So prayers out to those people out in the Plains area in our country. But now that I said that, D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Obviously, your prayers out to that country, knowing how big those tornadoes will be. But everything is good, man. I'm in a pretty decent mood. My Magic have 1 or 2 games back to back, making this series between the Cavs, a real series. So I'm in a great mood.
Yeah, I'm in a good mood. I had to work this weekend. So my game watching has been kind of I miss hearing that, except for the Laker game, and the Knicks and Sixers game today. So let's hop into it, D-Lock. Let's go down to today's slate. Right now, you got the Bucks and Pacers right now up in Indianapolis, with the Pacers holding to a 3-point lead, 67-64 going to the half. Bobby Portis, who started the game, due to Giannis still being out with his leg injury, he's been ejected for being in a fight, which is no surprise if y'all know Bobby Portis' history. And Damian Lillard, who's out with a sprained MCL, I believe, as well. So the Bucks star players are out. Portis is being injected. You look on the other side of things. Halliburton got 15 points, 3 assists so far for him. Miles Turner, 13 points for him. Obi Toppin, 9 points off the bench for him, for the Pacers. D-Lock, the Bucks are down by 3. Without Portis, Giannis, and Lillard. Granted, Portis played 7 minutes, but you get my point. Only down by 3 without with those 3 guys gone. This series could easily be 2-1 Milwaukee if Middleton had made a shot in overtime, in which he was hot in Game 3. Which that was bad defense by the Pacers, by the way. Does Milwaukee really have a chance against Indiana despite those star players not playing for the Bucks?
Well, to be honest, no. I think one reason why I say it also is because not only are they missing those key players, Dame Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bobby Portis, but their coach is Doc Rivers. I mean, we see the history that has happened with him coaching a lot of these teams. So I don't really give them that big of a shot. I think Chris Middleton is going to have to play a hell of a game and have a hell of a series for them to have some type of chance. I'm at a point now where there's going to be a lot of questions raised if this team gets put out. You made a big trade for Damian Lillard. You let go of your coach for Doc Rivers. What now? We need answers for those. So this is to be honest, the biggest surprise throughout this whole first round for me is the fact that Milwaukee is looking like this. And at this point, there's a good chance that they could get eliminated, giving Pacers that momentum. And if that happens, there's going to be a lot of questions that need to be answered in Milwaukee.
I think, watching Game 3 and how Indiana kind of really almost outdid themselves. I understand watching Dame and trying to close him out, but Middleton ain't nothing to sneeze that in crunch time like that. Even if Giannis was playing, you still had to watch out for Middleton because Middleton was taking those shots for Milwaukee for most of those times. So I don't know what the defensive plan was that what Rick Carlisle got from his assistants, but it's like, damn, Middleton was just making clutch threes like that. Like, damn, you screen Dame, okay, fine, but the man you leave it open is Middleton. It was just dumb. And I want to say this: Tyler Halliburton's a fine player, but that jumper of his is just the drizzling shits. Like that game, going back to Game 3, they left him open a couple times. D-Lock wide open, and the form and stuff like that. I was like, damn. If he had like a better shooting form, he'd be a walking bucket. He's an excellent scorer, but I think he could be more deadly if that jumper was just a little bit better. But to go to this game right here, the Bucks unfortunately be down by 3. I think one saving grace for them is still having Middleton on the floor. And I think, for the second half, you got to play through Middleton, got to play through Brook Lopez. And you got to tell somebody like a Patrick Beverly, hey, just play within the offense. Don't try and be nothing else more than you are. Stay in front of Halliburton and Nembhard. I think we'll be okay. And then, guys like Malik Beasley, you got to tell him, you got to make your shots, man. You got to make your shots. If those things can happen, I know Gallinari has gotten some time. If he can come in and have a strong game, I think they'll go well for Milwaukee. For the Pacers side of things, Middleton got 2 fouls. Trying to get the third and fourth in the third quarter. Make him depend on that bench. The bench that, a lot of people have been talking about Milwaukee. Make him go deep in the bench. Get Siakam in some screen and rolls and get matched up with Middleton. Try and draw some contact right there. So if those things can happen for either side, you know, I think even if I could, do those things, they may pull off the victory. But the way how close this game is, I may have to go with the Pacers just because the talent level, but it won't surprise me Milwaukee stays in this game. What you think?
I think they're going to stay into the game. I think that they have the chance to be competitive. I just think that at this point, it's going to be very, very hard, being the fact they don't have Dame, being the fact they don't have Giannis. Those are key pieces, and they're going to have to shoot lights out. You know, you go get you a couple of guys like a Drake Crowder. You need Chris Middleton to do, have a pretty decent game. Malik Beasley. These guys are going to have to play outstanding for it to be within something. But again, the Pacers go up 3-1. I think this is probably over. I just don't see Milwaukee, climbing out of that hole. Obviously, I believe that does happen. I think Giannis does play, being the fact that this is maybe the last game of the season. And, they are in dire need of that win. So, for me, I feel like, this is a very important game for Milwaukee.
Let me ask you this before we move on to another game. If the Pacers go up 3-1, what would you do in this situation? Do you trying to rush Giannis to play, or do you just kind of like, let's hold off?
To be honest with you, it's a very tough situation to be in, but probably would need more information on Giannis's situation, his injury, because clearly him being out there is going to make a huge impact, whether he's a decoy or whether he's at full strength. But being down 3-1, it is tempting to rush him back. But in my eyes, if he's not fully ready to go, it would be wise to sit him and just have the guys like a Dame, Bobby Portis, who has to be more disciplined with this ejection, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, who you should be able to lean on at this point. They're gonna have to get it done. It's just what it is. Pat Connaughton, if you have Jay Crowder, you're gonna have to lean on the roster you've made and the coaching. That's why I said when you make these coaching changes, this is gonna raise a lot of questions, right? At the end of the season, if you get put out the first round, so I wouldn't necessarily rush him back. I more likely would try to see if what this team can do without him, if he can't go with the roster changes that you made, and let Dame be Dame. Let him go out there and play as best he can if he's available.
I think if they go down 3-1, man, I think he tries to come back, but I think management would kind of like, Dame's not back. I don't know if he's gonna play game 5. We're not gonna be full strength, so why risk it? You know what I'm saying? Why risk our best player to kind of, injure him further and stuff like that? As I just don't see it. Who knows? But I just don't see them rushing him back like that. But I think he might try to force himself out there, knowing how Giannis rolls. So that game, halftime should be in here pretty soon. To go to the early game today, the Knicks, go New York, go, wins 97-92 against the Sixers. Jalen Brunson, who had a hell of a game, 47 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, 18-34 shooting, 2 for 8 for 3-point land to lead the way for the Knicks. Next closest person was OG Anunoby, 16 points for him, 14 rebounds, 47 minutes played for him as well. Heavy minutes for the Knicks starters. DiVincenzo, 8 points for him. McBride, another strong game off the bench, 13 points for him. No Mitchell Robinson due to the left ankle sprain. Go to the Philly side of things. Embiid, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 44 minutes played, despite the Bell's palsy diagnosis. 23 for Tyrese Maxey, 19 for Kelly Oubre as well. Seeing Jalen Brunson perform like this, D-Lock, after kind of a lackluster first 2 games for the Knicks, can he carry this team to a Game 5 victory and close this series out?
I think so. I mean, to be honest, Philly is all over the place right now. You have more news about Embiid. Tyrese Maxey is playing pretty decent, but Kyle Lowry. I think that New York is on the verge of going ahead and moving on. Brunson is just playing outstanding right now. I mean, he's just on a different level, and I really believe he continues this. The biggest thing I think is you have a game in New York too. That place is going to be rocking like crazy. Spike Lee's going to be there. Multiple other stars. I think that place is going to be very lit, knowing what's at stake. So right now, in my mind, I don't see Philly, grabbing this victory. Being down 3-1 is just like, wow. With a team that we've been talking about for years, that should be good. I mean, going through the guys of having Maxey, James Harden, Ben Simmons, all these different guys, and they keep being in the same situation. So, that's a different situation where you raise, question. You have a question that he answered, like, why are they still in the same spot? So for me, I definitely think that New York does, in fact, move on, especially at home. And a lot of questions need to be answered in Philly.
I did like a post game talk with our own Ricky K, who does our New York State of Sports here for iSports Radio. That he goes live every Wednesday. No, take it back. Every Thursday between 1 and 2 p.m. And D-Log, I did it well, and unfortunately, that audio is not available because something happened to the audio and stuff like that. We talked like a good 30 minutes about that game 2. And we talked about it. It's like, and one thing he was talking about Brunson is like, it wasn't his best 2 games so far. Granted, they won the games, but it wasn't his best games. Yeah, I said, the other guys kind of picked up the slack, like Hart, DiVincenzo, McBride in that first game. A lot of other guys kind of picked up the slack, especially in that Game 2 performance. When was it a foul, Maxey? Was it not? Did they get the timeout call in time? Which you look at the time video and stuff like that. Seemed like they did, but you saw the chain of events. DiVincenzo missing the first shot and then to get the second chance again, and then the Philly collapse like you just mentioned. I think it's just like, and boom, after that, Brunson kind of like turned things around and found himself a little bit. But I said to him, like, let's give it a second, get a little bit. I ain't nothing to worry about right now, and look what happened today. 47 points for him. And despite Joel Embiid playing all those minutes, Brunson still came out on top. And DiVincenzo hadn't played his best game, but those other guys kind of picked up the slack. So if you're the Knicks, one thing you got, we talked about on that post game too, D-Log, like the Knicks have more grit right now, more grind right now, and it's starting to show. Now, can Philly bounce back? Sure, they can, but I just think the Knicks right now, and this series been close, but the Knicks got the grind right now. They got the momentum. They got that want to. And I look at
Yeah,
us.
I mean, right now they have it. They're at a level where it just, like you said, they want to. And like I said, that game in New York is going to be even worse in my eyes.
And then I'm gonna other side of thing, Philly. Despite the Bell's palsy thing, and let me get your opinion on this. Do you think Joel Embiid should be playing despite the Bell's palsy diagnosis?
I mean, with that, reading up on it, it does play a huge part, uh, for him and other people. But I think it's probably best that he doesn't play. But with everything at stake, this is probably the least of many trainers or people from office worries. Um, they're probably trying to overlook that, being the fact that they want him to be out there, knowing um, what is at stake. But it just, again, there's something else with Embiid. And I know many people are tired of me saying it, but again, we talked about this a couple of years ago. When they lost to the Hawks, everybody talked about Ben Simmons. That was the blame. Everybody blamed Ben Simmons. Oh, Philly can't get nowhere with Ben Simmons. This, that, and the third. X, Y, and Z. Doc Rivers. Okay, Doc Rivers is gone. Ben Simmons is gone. James Harden is gone. And his team has yet to get to the NBA Finals. The only thing they got out of this is Joel Embiid got a Finals MVP. So now there is something else going on with this team. So again, I understand the palsy, it's different things that's going on, but how often is there going to be a problem with this Philly team? You have your player there in Joel Embiid. They're saying that they need a true guard in Tyrese Maxey. They got that, and now they're down 3-1, struggling to get out of round. So, to me, this is another team that needs to consider what they need to do during the offseason. But with the palsy situation, I think, Embiid should not be playing, but obviously, with everything at stake, they definitely have him out there.
Yeah, the first time I heard about Bell's palsy was like when I was a child or whatever. And some of y'all know I'm a wrestling fan. And y'all know good old JR Jim Ross, long-time announcer for pro wrestling. The only first time I heard about that is like when he brought up on TV and you can see his face. Like the face kind of droops to a side. It's kind of like a mini, I don't want to say mini stroke, but it's like your face kind of droops a little bit. Now, granted, yeah, it can, fix itself back up after a while, but that's the first time I heard about it as a child. I was like, oh, this ain't really fun. And, kind of fast forwarding now, like seeing Joel trying to play 40 plus minutes and stuff like that with this condition, I was like, got this, you got the leg injuries. It just seemed like it's too much for Joel to kind of trying to carry the load like this. Is that I just my opinion? I just think it's too much for one player to try and do all this. So I was just like, I hope he stays healthy. Hope nothing else transpires. But I just think it's like, if you playing with that, like, God knows what else might happen. And, this is a Philly team, got this dude that's prime his career. Like, do you want to risk something else? Try and win, trying to come down 3-1 against the Knicks. So I really don't know, man. I really don't know. I'll let you have the last word.
I mean, again, it's just a tough situation to be in, knowing what he has and how it's going. But I think that at the same time, you know how it is, man. They feel like they've invested so much money that this guy got to play. This is where in all sports we feel like it's unfair that they treat athletes just like robots. They don't think about them beyond the court, the track, the field. Just think about them as, pieces for entertainment. So, again, I think that this is something that has to be continued to looked at. But on the other issue of, again, Philly is in another situation. Let's forget they had Markelle Fultz at one point.
Yeah, that's true.
Who didn't pan out. So it's like so many different things is happening. And, as much as we want to talk about this player or that player there or X, Y, and Z, the loss of confidence, whatever, Philly has not done anything successful since, no matter who they wrote in there. Where have we seen the progression? And this is something that they have to figure out. So, again, hopefully, like I said, hopefully Embiid gets well, but I definitely think, especially them down being 3-1, Embiid is definitely going to play. They're gonna trot him out there and try to get a win and see if they can use that momentum throughout the rest of this series.
So I want to shout out to the chat. Shout out to Terry Rodriguez. Shout out to Miss Jim B. We'll get to your magic here in a little bit. Terry Rodriguez brought up Sixers apparently on Crawberries are playing dirty. They're pretty much done. Yeah. All the dirty tricks in the world ain't helping them none. And now they're down 3-1, excuse me. So, and to move to the last game that was played today, Clippers, Mavs. Clippers barely hanged on to this game. They were up big on the Mavs. They win by 5, 116-111, with the series now tied 2-2. Paul George, 33 points, 11 for 19 from the field, 7 for 10 for three-point land. 33 points for James Harden, 12 for 17 for him, 4 for 5 for three-point land for him. So both of the guys shot the ball well. No Kawhi Leonard, once again. But 13 points for Zubac right there. Norman Powell, 11 points off the bench for him. On the other side of things, Kyrie Irving had 40 points. Luka had 29. And 14 for Derrick Jones, who missed 2 easy-ass dunks. He had like 2 attempts for like a dunk. And he missed them both. I was like, damn, dog. How you missed those? But anyways. So there's that. No Kawhi Leonard once again in this series for the Clippers, but they win the game anyway. They tied 2-2. How do you foresee this series going? It's like the Clippers need Kawhi Leonard, but it somewhat don't need him, if that makes sense. So how do you evaluate this series after 4 games in your eyes?
Well, it just seems like this is going to be all the way going to Game 7. This is probably the best series this round. You're looking at Kawhi or George, Russ, just Luka and Kyrie, Peter Washington. I think that both teams made major moves to make that next step. Now they have to face each other the first round to determine who gets to that next round. So for me, I think that this is one of the series. This is a series that's going to go down that we will, remember. Just the fact that both teams have so much invested. So many stars is at this, in this series, and we look at series like I do in the NFL playoffs as well. When the playoffs start on any league, that means that somebody has to be eliminated. We see a lot of great teams, play well throughout the season. They put up these massive numbers. They on this winning streak, whatever, and they get in the playoffs, and somebody has to go. And I say that to say that at the end of the day, between the Mavericks and the Clippers, somebody has to win 4 games. Whether it's going to be Kawhi and his crew, whether it's going to be Luke and his. So this is a series that is a very interesting one to watch. Very, very interesting. One that we have to stay on to. I think that this definitely goes to 7. This is a too close to call for me. I think that what plays probably a huge part in this series is going to be the guard play. What does Kyrie and Luka do? What does James Harden do? We know how James Harden gets in the playoffs. So this is something that's going to play a big play in this series. And for me, it's a very tough one to call, man. I feel like Clippers had a huge lead today, and Mavericks fought back, almost took out the victory. So, I think this next game is going to be one to watch as well, which is, like I said, interesting. I love every bit of it. So, again, for it to go to Game 7, it gives you Western Conference Final vibes just because of stars that's in this series. So, I love every bit of it, man. But it's like I said, I think that going to Game 7, I don't see it going to Game 6. And I think each team steps up, when it comes to that elimination game. And we're looking at probably more likely Game 7, possibly an overtime Game 7.
I think real quick for me, I think how can I put it like this? I wonder if Kawhi Leonard was good to go. How soon could they close out this series? Like, could this series been kind of closed out sooner, or could have at least the Clippers been out 3-1 right now? And granted, yeah, Terrence said playoff play finally arrived on the scene. Yeah, he played great. Harden played great. Powell giving good minutes and stuff like that. But I wonder, if Kawhi was there, could things be kind of drastically different? And on the Mavs side of things, Luka and Kyrie are fine. It's just those other role players has just been quiet as a mouse, peeing in cotton. PJ Washington kind of quiet today. He stand tough, look tall, all that stuff, but you were quiet. Keebler, quiet. Lively, quiet. Gafford, quiet. So I just think those role players for the Mavs, they gotta step up to the plate. If they don't step up to the plate, then yeah, Luka and Kyrie can give you a couple of games. I think we all can assume that. But sometimes those role players, they got those other guys, they got to step up to the plate. And like Terrell Riggs had the same fight price as you, D-Lock. This series been kind of the best one out of the first round so far. So come game 5, which is I believe is on Tuesday for this series. No, excuse me, Wednesday. They stretch out to Wednesday on this series. We'll see how things go, and we'll see if Kawhi Leonard plays. If he doesn't play, not the end of the world, but people gonna still talk about you, dog.
Oh yeah,
So
he definitely gonna have to play, especially with everything on the table, on the line right now. I think like they're gonna have to make up their mind and decide what they want to do. But having him is crucial. Like I said, this series is very, very, very important. One of the best ones we've seen in the first round.
and to kind of talk real quick, Timberwolves Suns. The Timberwolves are 3-0 in this series. The Suns have no answers for the Timberwolves. They got their number. The young gun Anthony Edwards had 36 points last game. Does Anthony Edwards, the young gun, have a big game in Game 4 to put the Suns out of this playoffs?
Well, in my mind, I think that, I think obviously down 3-0, Phoenix are going to try to nuke. They're going to try to, trying to slow him down. But it's going to open up everything for everybody else. I think you see Mike Conley have a pretty decent game. Alexander Walker, a pretty decent game. Carlton Towns, these other guys are going to step up. This is the reason why I think I messaged you a couple of days ago. I was like, man, they about to get swept.
Yeah.
Because to me, for one, you're letting Anthony Edwards do whatever you want. And now you have to think about him. But hell, now those bigs, which is the biggest issue for Phoenix, they ain't gonna be able to do nothing but Carlton Towns at the bottom. So they're gonna do what they want. Jaden McDaniels is playing outstanding defense right now. He's playing very good. Lights out this series. So to me, I don't think Anthony Edwards has a good game. I think they neutralize him. I think you see others start to wake up, start to do what they want. Now, even though I did say they get swept, it's tough seeing Devin Booker and damn Kevin Durant on the same team get swept first round. Very hard to accept, but very much possible. I don't see them going out easy. It's going to be a very tough game, but at the same time, Minnesota is definitely showing that they are a team that to be reckoned with moving forward, and their strength is Phoenix's weakness. That's the reason why, again, you struggle to stop that team. Carlton Towns and Gobert are going to do whatever they want. Now with Anthony Edwards coming to his own, that team is very dangerous. And finally, I've been saying this shit for years. Finally, this team is starting to show something. I've been talking about this team ever since we started this podcast. And finally, they look like a team that could be competitive during the playoffs.
Yeah, you've been on that train. I mean, you've been on that stuff on that for a long time. I mean, it's just like it's Minnesota. They always have kind of like good players up there. Well, take it back. Let me rephrase that. Hall of Fame player Kevin Garnett. But after him, it's always been like solid players that come through there. Like, Kevin Love. Like, Al Jefferson. Last back to the basket, true big man. Al Jefferson, Latrell Sprewell in his twilight years. Sam Cassell, Terrell Brandon, Christian Laettner, Isaiah Rodder, Tom Gugliotta, you know, guys like that. Now you kind of got like a little alpha dog in Anthony Edwards. You tried that for years with Cat. It never really materialized. Get Anthony Edwards, and now this young man, who I think should have been invited for the MVP, race, kind of showing, he's here, and he's got a chance to kind of really show himself to be that I'm here right now. Let's put the Phoenix Suns out of misery. Now, do the Phoenix Suns probably got one last gasp? Possibly. But what you just mentioned, Minnesota's depth is very, very good. And one thing we kind of talked about, our season preview series about the Suns, and why I kind of had them rate kind of low, is because of multiple things. But one of the things is like the depth of this team. Like, look at the depth of this team. Yeah, they got Royce O'Neal to trade deadline. But, after that, Drew Eubanks, David Rowdy, Okogie, Nazir Little, Bo, Eric Gordon, but Eric Gordon's about our age. Thaddeus Young, he my age too. So, long carrying the red. But you get my point. Could Phoenix have last gaps? Sure. But I think Anthony Edwards and company, they're going to put Phoenix out tonight. Do you think Minnesota complete the sweep tonight and win?
Boy, I would say they will get swept. And I'm gonna stick with that bold prediction. I think that they'll go ahead and finish it off. My mind, I think, right now, obviously slowing down Anthony Edwards is going to happen. I just think at this point, it'll be the others that they have to worry about. So, to me, I definitely think Minnesota does get that victory. Kevin Durant is going to go off. I think Phoenix does jump out to this big 10 to 15 point margin. I think Minnesota closes it and come back. I think the defense that they have is going to play a huge part. Anthony Edwards is going to have the spurts where he eats when he wants. And then, I think they squeeze it out. It's going to be tough. Now, again, that's another team that's going to have questions come the offseason. You make moves, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. Royce O'Neal's over there too, correct?
Yes, correct.
Royce O'Neal, a couple other guys. So they're going to have to figure out what is it that they're going to do. Is it working with Frank Vogel? And go from there. Like I said, I think with so many pieces, we would not expect them to be down 3-0 to anybody. But they are in this situation. So they're going to have to get it done. I think Devin Booker goes off too. I think Minnesota definitely steals this victory.
Yeah, I think Minnesota gets it done. I think, just real quick, I think they get it done. And like you mentioned about Phoenix, a lot of questions got to be asked. And then also, before we got live here, saw a report, Phoenix may be, moving on from Frank Vogel, depending on how the series finishes out. So you just hired a man, and now you're gonna try and make a move. So it like you knew what you get in Frank Vogel, but this roster construction wasn't the best. But probably drop an Easter egg right now. I think they should sell high on Bradley Beal in the offseason. This is my opinion, real quick on that. Let's go back to yesterday's game real quick. Your Orlando Magic. Let's talk about them. They win 112-89. Kind of really flipped the script on the series. I'll let you talk. What do you feel about your Magic tying up this series the way they have down in Orlando?
Like I said, the biggest thing is I felt like with this team, starting for one, I don't know why they started Jonathan Isaac the first game. I don't know what that was about. And now they see that that's not, a wise move. Game 3, they came out. Jalen Suggs had a hell of a game. Bankero came out firing. Wagner, the 3, came out. And they came to play. Started Wendell Carter, which I thought he should have started the first 2 games anyway. Neutralize Donovan Mitchell, which is what you want. But also, I think starting Wendell Carter made a big impact on Jared Allen's performance. That was something special that you've seen on the defensive side because the first 2 games, Jared Allen was doing whatever the hell he wanted. So now, you start Wendell Carter, you bring that defensive presence in, you bring somebody down there who can handle somebody similar to Jared Allen. Because Jonathan Isaac, again, is not a true center. We talked about this for a while. He's more so of a small forward in my eyes, maybe a power forward. So for me, being able to move and start Wendell Carter, that probably was the wisest move by them. And now you look like a better team overall. Because I said that the biggest issue that this team was going to have was dealing with the bigs. And now they were able to deal with the bigs, bringing in Wendell Carter, playing more Wagner. So the last 2 games were spectacular for Orlando. But all it did was really show they just won their home games as expected. So hopefully now they can kind of use that moving forward and then, steal a game in Cleveland. If they could do that, now, you're in a good state of mind. But it's just something that has to be done because now, yes, you won the last 2 games. You're in a situation now where you have to win that next game. And if you could get that 3-2 lead, then maybe, now we're talking about going back to Orlando, and taking it serious. But hell of a job, Bar. I think, again, it's a big deal when you can when you can get your 2 home games as expected. Because at first it was looking like hell, a sweep could be happening. But it's great to see them actually, put 2 victories together and finally move forward in that, which is very exciting. So for me, they're definitely going back to Orlando. Now the question is, do they go up 1 or down 1?
And Marcus in the chat. Marcus goes great in the chat. He's saying Indiana can't stop a nosebleed. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, we kind of saw that transpire game 3. That's what defense they played. especially against Chris Middleton. But Marcus always said if Orlando steals a game, how does that stack up on Mitchell's resume? He said Mitchell is looking like the Wayman Tisdale of the league. I don't know about that, but you know, the rumors of him, Mitchell not really trying to sign that contract extension. And if you're right, D-Lock, if Orlando can steal a game up in Cleveland, and Miss Jen, she's kind of been on this train that if the Cavs lose this series, she thinks Bickerstaff should be let go. What you think about Jen's comment? Because we talk off the air a little bit. She said like Bickerstaff should be gone. What you think about that? If Cleveland loses the series, should Bickerstaff lose his job?
I wouldn't say he lose his job just yet. I mean, I think, obviously making a big move for Donovan Mitchell played a huge part. I wouldn't say lose him yet. Obviously next Bruce. Not so soon. I think that this Orlando Magic team is better than what teams give them credit for. They're a young team. Obviously having the first round pick in Paolo Carroll, and let's not forget Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony. I mean, these are some talented guys, right? This is not a team that is just barely making it in the playoffs. So for me, this is they do lose a series. This is not something that you're just saying, oh, damn, we lost to a sorry-ass team that shouldn't even been in the playoffs. This is a team that, could be making it pretty far in the playoffs. So I won't necessarily say let him go just yet. I think that they're playing against a very competitive team that can play a huge part. Obviously, with the guys that they have on that Cleveland roster, I think they have to get things in order because of the expectations. But again, Donovan Mitchell being the guy there, Allen being there, Mobley, things have to move forward, and especially in the East. So, but fire him? Nah, I don't think so, not yet.
I don't foresee it happen. As well. I mean, we never know these things. We never know these things. So I don't foresee that happening right now because, you don't know what the future is, Donovan Mitchell and stuff like that, and how that's going to go. So how that's going to factor into things. So I don't foresee it happen like you. I'm not there yet. But if they get mollywopped again like they've been since going to Orlando, and then turn around game 6 and get mollywopped again, you may have to consider it. So we'll leave it on that note. Real quick before we get out of here, D-Lock. Real quick before we get out of here. Do the Lakers win tomorrow night and push it to a game 6?
I think this game is going to be tight. Man, I'm starting to think that these Lakers are just trash, man. I don't want it to be true. Some of these games you have to win, and I don't know. I mean, they're gonna have to figure out something. All these guys over here, Spencer Dinwiddie, Gabe Vincent, who we haven't seen all year, still recently. Torian Prince is there. This new reordering roster with the main guys. I don't know. I mean, this is going to be a tough game for them. They're going to have to bring their best, but even this is a hard-fought battle. They have to deal with the rest of the series. But I definitely think Michael Porter, Jokic, Jamal Murray, them guys are going to come with it this game, knowing what's at stake. You don't want to let the Lakers come back and have an ounce of confidence. So I think that the Denver Nuggets bring their A game. I think the Lakers do too. But the Lakers got to figure something out, man.
Real quick for me, I think, like Terry Rodriguez said, I think the game will be interesting, but I think the Nuggets pull through. I just think too many, like with AD and Russell, I think too many things going on with them, questioning the coaching and stuff like that. They'll come out and play hard, but I just think, the attention is gone. So I'll leave it at that. Come next Sunday show, we'll probably dive deeper depending on how this series plays out. Come next Sunday, but we'll do a deep dive then. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813 on X. Let them know they can find you at the show's page. You
can find me in the show's page, the show's page on Twitter /X at FastBreakIESR. That's FastBreakIESR. Do follow iSportsRadio.com on all your social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on X/Twitter as well. Do follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. We'll talk to y'all next week. We'll see what happened to the Lakers, and we'll see what happened with the rest of these series. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.